Where did you learn that saying? Did you sneak out of the palace to get new novellas? Don't interrupt. Remove this. Use mine. Your Highness, spare me. The unauthorized use of a royal's item is a capital offense. Humph, you love to capture people's attention. Let's go, Your Highness. If we bump into His Majesty here, we'll be punished for meeting in secret. Your Majesty, I found a small dirt pit in some remote grassy area, and this thing was dug out from it. Isn't this Prince of Yu's favorite dagger? Is this your dagger? It is mine. Why is it soiled with blood, and why is it buried in a pit? I gave this dagger to Yi Donglu. As for what happened after that, I'm clueless as well. When did you give it to him? Today around noon. The sword is stained with blood. It's a suspected murder weapon, and it was once given to official Yi. His Highness the Prince of Yu may be involved in this matter. I hope that Your Majesty will not bring any personal feelings into this and investigate this case thoroughly. Minister Wang to Rui. That is to say, before Officer Yu was assassinated and fell from the building, the Prince of Yu coincidentally gave him a short dagger? Even if this was a murder weapon, it's not enough to prove that this murder had something to do with me. Couldn't the murderer have drawn the dagger that Donglu was wearing and stabbed him in turn? Besides the murder weapon, you have a motive. Hidden agenda aside, Your Highness had a very close relationship with Officer Yi. How can you say you're not involved? At the very least, you're a suspect. Regardless of whether it's a coincidence or if you're involved, both parties need to bring forward evidence to prove who's guilty and who isn't. If neither has conclusive evidence, we'll need to discuss this matter in detail further. Although these words are not biased on the surface, in the end, it favors the Prince of Yu. There's no trace of the murderer, and the prince insists that the dagger was a gift. Where can I find conclusive evidence? Then we do hope Your Highness Prince of Yu presents evidence or a witness to prove that you have nothing to do with this case. I have a witness. Who? Su Yan, the records department attendant and private tutor of the Crown Prince. I can testify for the Prince of Yu. It's really unfortunate to have such a shameless prince sticking to me. At noon, His Highness and I practiced archery in the woods of Longda Palace. During this period, I was still quite intoxicated, so His Highness kindly helped me to an abode to rest. Right after that, Officer Yi arrived. The two of them talked. His Highness then took out the fish dagger and gave it to him. Your Majesty, I will order the court painter to bring over the stored paintings. Open the box and investigate the paintings. Show me, who wasn't present before the murder? Look at the auxiliary building. Isn't one of them Officer Yi? The paintings show conclusive evidence. The individual standing opposite Officer Yi at the fence was Private Tutor Su. It's quite a resemblance. Did someone do it on purpose? One of you is the original owner of the murder weapon, and the other is the person present at the murder scene. How can you convince us that you are totally clear of suspicion? Your Majesty, I hope you judge this clearly. The Prince of Yu can rely on his status as the younger brother of the Emperor and get out of this unscathed as long as he does not commit heinous crimes. I, on the other hand, have become a scapegoat full of shit. Are you kidding me? There are too many loopholes in the so-called evidence. I want to defend myself. Would you all give me a chance to clarify the truth? Naturally. I would like to invite the painter, Mr. Lianzhou, over for some questioning. I grant you permission. Goodness, who made a mess out of my drawings? What are all these? Look at this. There's even a footprint. How dare you? Why are you not bowing to the Emperor? I humbly greet your Majesty. Rise. I'm Su Yan, the Records Department attendant. May I ask where you were when you were painting this? That garret. Indeed, you can see the Willa shooting arena and the eastern auxiliary building of the Longda Palace. Excuse me, did you choose that place yourself? I originally chose the sheltered bridge. But a guard told me to go to the garret to paint, saying that the tables, chairs, and benches were all set up. Who was that guard? Do you remember? Can you point him out? I don't remember clearly. I'm sure, Minister, that you've noticed something suspicious here too. Mr. Lianzhou was directed to the garret so he could include the murderer in the painting. Why so? There's a second loophole. Dear officers, do take a look. This person's sash was the same as mine before noon. It's a cloth sash. But during my noon archery lesson, I lost my sash, so I replaced it with a leather one. Let's assume I went to the auxiliary building to murder Officer Yi and rushed back to the Willow shooting arena. How could I head back to the palace to change my sash in just half an hour? As such, we can come to one conclusion. The suspect had long planned to frame me and the Prince of Yu, so he wore an outer robe of the same color and pattern as mine, and buried the murder weapon hastily in the pit. He also led Mr. Lianzhou to record the scene right before the murder, in a vain attempt to rely on the court painting to finish me off. This person is vicious in his trickery. In order to frame the likes of me and the Prince of Yu, he didn't care that it'd affect the imperial consort, or that it had malicious intent towards her and her offspring. He is extremely cruel. But after all his planning, he never expected that I would change my sash. This is where the flaw was revealed. I was wronged, Your Majesty. Please judge this matter with clarity.